Come and budget with me. Let's ditch all those boring spreadsheets and make a game plan for where your money goes. And that way, you're the one in control and not caught off guard at the end of the month. Paychecks, have a way of disappearing, sometimes faster than a plate of nachos at a party. Now, if that sounds familiar, it might be time to take a look at your spending and find ways that you can trim it down. Now, we're going to be talking specifically about how you can keep more of your money, and we'll be diving into some ways for you to cut your expenses and boost up your savings and make this year the most financially stress-free one yet. Now, don't worry, this isn't some dry numbers-heavy lecture. We're going to keep it fun and practical. Hey everybody, welcome to Thrifty Budgeting. If you're new here, we're all about spending less, saving more, and living your best life without feeling like you have to sacrifice everything fun. Today, I'm inviting you to budget with me. We're going on a money-saving adventure where you'll learn practical ways to spend smarter, and best of all, you won't feel like you're stranded in a canoe without a paddle. Now, stick around until the end, because our fourth budgeting method that we'll cover is so good that you're going to feel like you hit the jackpot. Alright, let's kick things off with our first budgeting method, zero-based budgeting. Do you ever feel like your paycheck has a secret life? 1 minute it's there, and the next, poof, it's gone, like it ran off to join the circus. You thought you had money left after paying bills, grabbing a coffee and maybe indulging in a little takeout, but somehow you ended up staring at your bank account like it personally betrayed you. Well, my friend, no more financial disappearing acts. It's time to put every dollar to work with zero-based budgeting. So if you haven't heard of this, it's a super intentional way to manage your money where every dollar has a job. Now, by the end of the month, your income minus expenses should equal zero, but not because you spent it all, but because you assigned it all. So think of it like this. Instead of asking, where did all my money go? You'll confidently say, I know exactly where every dollar went. And spoiler alert, it's not all going towards snacks. Probably. So let's break down how the zero-based budgeting works into 3 simple steps. Our first step is to list your income. Now, first things first, you want to figure out exactly how much money you're working with each month. So let's say you bring in $3,700 after taxes. That's your budget starting lineup. And then your second step is you're going to take that amount and assign every dollar to a category. So write out all your categories, and here is a example that you can follow, and this will vary depending upon where you live and your income. So let's say your rent or mortgage is $1,200 a month, your groceries $400 a month, utilities $355, car payment would be $350, your debt payments $300, fun money of $150 because budgeting shouldn't mean zero fun, then savings and investments, we're going to put $400 to that, which leaves the miscellaneous category, and we'll throw $100 on that. So if you add all that up, that equals $3,255. So that means we have $445 left over. And that's where step 3 comes in, because we're going to assign the leftover amount so every dollar has a job. So then we're going to put $250 to extra debt payments, because knocking out your debt faster is always a win. Then we'll have $195 left, and we'll throw that into savings. So if you add the $195 to the $400 you've already put, so your total for this month is $595. And just like that, boom, every dollar has a home, and your budget is balanced at zero. A lot of people really do love this method, especially for how it forces you to be intentional with your money. Because there are no excuses then for accidental overspending, and no more wondering where the heck it all went. And it's also great because it encourages saving and debt payoff, which is cool because you plan for savings instead of just hoping that it matches magically happens. And it also works for any income level. I mean, whether you make $2,000 or $20,000 a month, it works the same way. But is it for everyone? Not necessarily. And here's where it might not be the perfect fit. It does require tracking, so if you don't love messing with numbers, it can feel a bit tedious. It could also feel a bit rigid, so if you like financial wiggle room, this method might feel a little too structured. Another thing to consider is that it does take time to plan, especially if your income does fluctuate month to month. And if you want full control over your money without wondering where it all went to, then zero-based budgeting is absolutely worth trying. And if you liked this one, just wait until you hear about this next method, which is all about simplicity and guilt-free spending. Oh yeah, the 50-30-20 rule. Okay, let's be honest. Budgeting can feel like a chore sometimes. I mean, there's spreadsheets, endless tracking, and trying to figure out where your money went, which is what we just went over, right? And it's not exactly how you want to spend a Friday night. But what if we told you there's a super simple way that you can budget that's going to allow you to spend your money guilt-free, save for the future, and pay your bills all without stress? And yeah, that does exist. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, aka the budgeting method for people who don't like budgeting. So how it works is instead of tracking every dollar like a financial detective, this method keeps it simple. You're going to divide your income into 3 easy categories. So your first category is going to be your needs, and that's going to be the expenses that you absolutely have to pay each month, like your rent or mortgage, utilities, maybe a car payment, things like that. Then 30% represents you taking 30% of your paycheck, and that goes toward your wants. And that's going to be the fun stuff. If you want to go out and have a dinner with friends or treat yourself to a latte. And then 20% is going to be for savings and debt repayment. So the rule has only 2 steps. And step 1 is pretty easy. You're going to find your after-tax income. So that's going to be the money that you actually get to keep after Uncle Sam has had his share. We're just using this as an example, but let's say that you bring in $3,700 each month after taxes. So that's going to be the number that we're working with in this example. So step 2 will be to split it into categories. So that 50% represents your needs. And so your needs here is going to be your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, car payment, health insurance, etc. 30% is going to be your wants, like dining out, your Netflix subscriptions, hobbies and shopping, travel and entertainment. Then 20% savings and debt. Now this is the part that's going to set you up for financial freedom. I mean, you'll have emergency fund debt, paying off debt, investing, and retirement savings. And a lot of people love the 50-30-20 rule because it's super simple. You don't have to track every dollar, and it's flexible, so you can customize it easily to fit your lifestyle. And it works because it's straightforward, it keeps you responsible, and it also helps you save for the future without sacrificing the present. But it's not for everyone. So for example, if you live in a high-cost area, 50% for needs might not be enough, especially when you consider rent. Also, if you have a lot of debt, you may have to adjust the percentages in this case. So for example, you could flip it around, like 30% goes towards savings and debt, and then only 20% will go toward your wants. Now, if you're one that likes to track every single dollar, this might feel too relaxed compared to the zero-based budgeting. Now, there are plenty of budgeting methods out there that can be explored, but if you're looking for a budget that's simple, flexible, and still keeps you on track, the 50-30-20 rule just might be that perfect fit. But if you're thinking, I might need something even stricter to keep me from overspending, then don't worry. There's another budgeting method that might be perfect for you. The cash envelope method. So before we dive in, I just want you to stop and think, have you ever noticed how effortless it is to swipe a card? I mean, tap, swipe, beep. It's done. It's so easy, in fact, that you don't even feel the money leaving your account. You don't even think about it until at the end of the month, you check your balance and surprise, your bank account looks like it's been on an unsupervised shopping spree. Where did all your money go? Now, imagine if instead of mindless swiping, you had to hand over cold hard cash each and every time that you made a purchase. You'd probably think twice before buying that extra latte or adding just one more thing to your cart, right? Well, that's exactly why the cash envelope system works. It makes spending real. So what it is a cash-based budgeting method that helps keep you in control of your spending, stops you from overspending, and you're able to stick to your budget so easy. So how it works is this one has spending categories as well. So each spending category gets its own envelope. And then you're just going to put a allotted amount of cash inside each one. And once the cash is gone for the month, it's gone. No overspending. Now, I know it sounds like old school, and it is, but is it still effective? Absolutely it is. So the first thing that you want to do is choose your budget categories. Now, it works for all expenses, but it's really super helpful for categories that tend to fluctuate a lot, like groceries or dining out, gas and transportation, fund money, miscellaneous, etc. Now, some people also use it for fixed expenses as well, like rent and mortgage, and in some places, utilities. Now, if you want to go all in on the cash envelope system, you'd withdraw all the cash that you need for the month and then store it in labeled envelopes. But let's be real, most people don't have that kind of cash up front. So instead, what you can do is divide each category's total by how often that you get paid, and then just add that amount to the envelope each and every pay period. Then your second step is going to be to set up a spending limit and then fund your envelopes. So this is an example of how you can do this. Let's decide how much cash that you're going to need for each category. So let's say that your rent or mortgage is $1,200 for the month, and your groceries is going to be $400 for the month. Gas and transportation, $250. Your utilities, $355. Your fund money, $100. Now, withdraw the cash based on your pay schedule. So if you're paid twice a month, just simply divide that amount in half and then put that cash in the envelope each payday. So if you're paid weekly, divide it by 4. This way, you're filling up your envelopes gradually, making it manageable and realistic. And step 3 is to spend only from the envelopes. And that means when you go shopping, you're going to get your envelope and pay in cash. If there's money left over in the envelope, awesome. If it's empty though, you're done spending in that category until next month. So make sure to spend it wisely and plan it out. Now, again, there's no overdrafts in here that you have to worry about. No surprise charges. I mean, everything's just real, tangible budgeting. A lot of people really love this system because you end up spending less, and studies show that people spend 12 to 18% less when they use cash instead of cards. Wow, that is something to think about. It also stops impulse buying, so you physically see the money leaving your hands. Therefore, eliminates overspending, and you can't spend what's not in the envelope, right? It also makes saving easier. I mean, leftover cash, drop it into savings. Handling cash isn't for everyone. Some people prefer digital tracking methods. Also, it can be tricky for bigger expenses like travel or emergencies, so be sure and just keep some flexibility. So this method is really helpful if you struggle with impulse spending. Also, if you want to stop using credit for everyday expenses and need a foolproof way to stay on budget, then this method is golden. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, but what if I can't always use cash? Hey, no worries. There's another savings first budgeting method that automates your financial success. And trust me, you're going to want to hear about it. What are we talking about? It's called Pay Yourself First Budgeting Method. Now, if you feel like saving money is impossible and every time you think about putting money aside, something always comes up. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Bills, groceries, those unexpected expenses like a vet bill or auto repair, you're left with nothing to save. Talk about stressful. So this simple budgeting method really is great because it makes your saving money automatic. It's really effortless and completely stress-free if you follow it. Now, before we dive into this, let's be real for a second. Yes, saving first is a game changer, but it only works if you're setting aside a realistic amount. I mean, the goal here is to build savings without putting yourself in a bind where you're struggling just to cover your basic expenses. So before you decide how much to save, take a hard look at your budget and factor things in like rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and all those necessary expenses. Then set aside an amount that fits your financial situation without leaving you short for the month. Even a small amount adds up over time. Now, how does paying yourself first work? Now, if you think about it, if you wait until the end of the month to save, what happens? You end up running out of money. So if you save first, you're forced to adjust your spending around what's left, not the other way around. So let's say that you make $3,000 a month. Instead of spending first and hoping to save later, you automate $300 to savings right away. So now you only see $2,700 available, and naturally you're going to adjust your spending to fit it. So after a year, you have saved $3,600 effortlessly. And the best part, you never even miss some money. So how we do this method is first, set a savings goal. Decide how much that you want to save each month, but make sure it's realistic for your budget. Even $50 is a great start if that's what works for you. And then next, you want to automate your savings. So set up an automatic transfer from your paycheck or checking account to a separate savings account. So if your employer offers direct deposit, have part of your paycheck sent straight to your savings. And then finally, you're just going to adjust your spending to fit what's left. So whatever's left in your checking account is what you budget for expenses. So you end up naturally spending less. So you essentially flipped the budgeting script to make it work for you. Now, saving money doesn't have to be hard, overwhelming, or stressful. It doesn't. The pay yourself first method makes it so easy, and it's life-changing if you stick to it. So, are you paying yourself first, or do you save what's left? Drop it down and let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay thrifty.